The second to last stop of the Great American Bash tour took us to Memphis, Tennessee, and we kicked off the night with a Memphis Wrestling Classic. Andy Kaufman taking on Jerry the King Lawler with David Letterman as the special guest referee. Today we think of pro wrestling by the term sports entertainment. And to me, this feud is the beginning, the birth of sports entertainment, the origin of sports entertainment. You've got a celebrity from Hollywood coming into the wrestling space. And this feud brought so many memorable moments, not only from the action in the ring, but outside of the ring as well, with the promos and the video packages and interviews, and that crazy appearance between these two on the David Letterman show. Just like back in the 80s, the fans in Memphis were treated to a Jerry the King Lawler victory over Andy Kaufman. Then we had the WCW Cruiserweight Championship on the line. Mr. Money in the Bank Ricochet getting his shot at Ilja Dragunov. We've seen Dragunov at various stops along the tour successfully defend his Cruiserweight title. Whether it was night number 1 in Philadelphia, where he defeated, in a rematch, the guy that he took that very Cruiserweight title from, Dirty Dom. Then in Chicago, successfully defending against Dragon Lee. And while Ricochet does have bigger ambitions, being the Money in the Bank briefcase holder, if he could find a way to walk out of here with the Cruiserweight title, that really gives him even more power, more of a way for him to kind of pick and choose over the next 11 months when he chooses to cash in. But when you're in there with Ilja Dragunov, it's not going to be an easy night at the office. Dragunov would get the victory and once again successfully retain and remain your WCW Cruiserweight Champion. Then we had a fatal four-way to see who would go on to Greensboro to take on Charlotte Flair for the WCW Women's Championship. In this one, we had 3 former WCW Women's Champions. And then Jade Cargill. Jade still looking for her first championship in our universe. But we've got kind of a timeline of champions. We've got the most recent former WCW Women's Champion, Raquel Rodriguez. Then the woman she won her championship from, Rhea Ripley. And then the woman that Rhea defeated to become champion, Tiffany Stratton. Raquel, who began the tour as WCW Women's Champion, lost that title on night number 2 in Washington, D.C. to Charlotte. And then she would get a rematch when we rolled through Los Angeles. And again, was unable to get past Charlotte Flair. You look at somebody like Jade, who had her run on the WWE side, had some opportunities, just was not able to win a championship. Now that she's in WCW, courtesy of the draft, will she find that she has a little more success over here? But in this one, it would be Raquel Rodriguez who would come out victorious. And we will see when we get to Greensboro if 3 times is a charm when it comes to the Great American Bash and Charlotte Flair. Then we had the WCW Tag Team Championships on the line. Former champions, The New Day, taking on the Motor City Machine Guns. If you'll remember at our stop in Detroit, where the Machine Guns made their debut, night 1 in the universe, and they walked out as champions. The New Day hasn't exactly had the most successful run in our universe. Took them almost 2 years before they were able to finally claim a championship. And then you got these new guys who just show up and on night one are able to win a championship. But you can't fault the Guns for taking advantage of an opportunity that they had in front of them. They had the advantage of knowing who they were going in there with, taking on the Street Profits. And it worked out for them. Can't fault them for that. This one, though, would end in a very anticlimactic way, as both teams would be counted out. I get the feeling this is not the last time we're going to see the New Day and the Motor City Machine Guns chop it up in the ring. Then we saw the return of Memphis legend Double J, Jeff Jarrett, taking on AJ Styles now. There is a lot of history between Jeff Jarrett and AJ. Obviously not from their time in the WWE or the open mic universe, but from TNA. A lot of battles between these two over the years. Jeff, who got his start in Memphis, coming back here and going one-on-one with AJ one more time. And you know the phenomenal AJ Styles is not going to disappoint. I got to say, I was pretty impressed, though, with Jeff. I thought Jeff, we haven't seen him in the universe up to this point. He shows up here looking to be in great shape. And I got to admit, to me, Jeff has always been kind of an underappreciated talent. He can kind of do a little bit of everything. And thanks to Jeff Jarrett, I got to work for a few years in the wrestling business. So, hey, no complaints from me. On this night, though, in Memphis, didn't exactly go Double J's way, but could we maybe see one more run from the Last Outlaw? Then it was the WWE Women's Championship on the line. Bayley, the former champion, taking on Piper Niven. Piper, who defeated Bayley at our stop in Chicago to win her first championship in the universe. And Bayley, a former two-time WWE Women's Champion. But there was a big gap between title reign 1, very early on in our universe, and title reign number 2. Piper, though, we've said it repeatedly on a lot of these recap videos, Piper has been number 2 so many times over the last 6 months. The fact that she was finally able to break through and win a championship, she's not looking to hand it back anytime soon. Here in Memphis, she would successfully retain and remain your WWE Women's Champion. She will face the Queen of the Ring, Liv Morgan, at our final stop in Greensboro. Then we would see Damian Priest taking on the Phenom, The Undertaker. We have seen The Undertaker over the course of this tour. He's not a normal, regular member of our universe, but he does make special appearances from time to time. We've seen a few different versions of The Undertaker over the course of this tour. Here he is in Memphis, a place that he had spent a considerable amount of time before his time as The Undertaker, taking on Damian Priest. Now, much like our stop in Dallas, where you had somebody like CM Punk taking on his dream opponent, Stone Cold Steve Austin, this is Damian Priest's dream opponent. And he probably thought that this matchup would never happen. But here in the open mic universe, we like to make matchups happen that maybe you don't think you're ever going to get. In this one, Damian Priest would find a way to defeat his dream opponent, The Undertaker, and walk out with the victory. Then in our main event, it was Jacob Fatu taking on the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Main event, Jey Uso. Jey, who's got a date with Roman Reigns, our King of the Ring, in Greensboro. Now, in this one, the title's not on the line, but you know that the head of the table has sent the Samoan werewolf in there to do as much damage as possible to Jey. Maybe try to soften him up a little bit before their matchup. Jey with a Samoan splash off the top rope. Almost gets the 3 count. Then these two just teeing off on each other. Jacob climbing up to the top rope. And then hitting a coast to coast on the champ. Before hitting a moonsault off the top rope and getting the victory. But that would not be the end of the night, as Mr. Money in the Bank Ricochet would crash the ring and look to take advantage of the fact that Jey had just been through a war with Jacob Fatu. The ramifications of this cash-in could potentially alter the entire universe. Obviously, if Ricochet wins, he becomes the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. But based on our new cash-in rules, since Ricochet is on the WCW roster, with a loss, Jey would actually get sent to WCW to replace him on the roster. And what would that mean for Jimmy Uso? He would be left all alone to deal with the bloodline. At the end of this one, though, Ricochet would come away victorious and become your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He goes on to Greensboro to defend the title against Roman Reigns. And after a celebration in the ring, we would get a special appearance from the Tribal Chief as he would come out and show his approval of the night's festivities. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to join us next time for the final stop of the Great American Bash Tour from Greensboro, North Carolina.